Now, this weekend's extreme heat conditions across Australia's southeastern states aren't just putting people at risk, but also animals as well. Josh Neal is a registered wildlife carer who's been out helping animals in distress as those bushfires burn through regional Victoria. He joins us now from Gippsland. Josh, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Just take us to where your operation is. How are you travelling? How are the animals travelling that you care for?
Oh, it's crazy business out here. It's pretty chaotic all across Victoria, isn't it? I think everyone's wearing a bit of everything, a bit of stress, no matter where they are. Everyone obviously knows someone involved in this chaotic event. And I'm down in Hayfield, so I'm probably closest to the Wonnangatta-Dargo fire. I can see the big plume of smoke up in that bushland at the foothills where I live in Hayfield from the house. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy business, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to do the best they can. And especially in the wildlife space, it's going to be pretty hectic probably the rest of the month. A lot of wildlife people, it's not the impact you'll see right now. A lot of these animals need three things. They need food, water and shelter. And after a bushfire goes through, obviously a lot of them are displaced. They live off a lot of native grasses, a lot of the native wildlife we have. And as you've seen in a lot of your videos that you've been putting up, there's not much grass left after a bushfire comes through like that. So, yeah, the next couple of months are going to be pretty crazy. Some pretty hungry native animals out there, distressed, out of place. They're going to turn up in spots that you probably wouldn't normally see them. So, yeah, one thing I will say too is wildlife can't call in on a phone and ask for help. So it's going to rely on members of the public out there to be their eyes and ears and to help them and get through this tough time.
We'll speak to you a bit later as well about how people can help wildlife if they come across them in need or injured. But what sort of animals are you talking about here? What are the animals that you've come across that are really needing care?
We get a lot of possums at the moment. Obviously, they're a tree living animal. So we've probably had 10 or 15 calls straight away, not even directly from the bushfires, but that extreme heat that caused this big scenario. A lot of the native animals, once it gets between like 35 and 40 degrees, a lot of them just can't cope. So they're turning up all over the place, or phone calls about people finding them on the roads and just, yeah, really struggling. So them and obviously kangaroos, they get so stressed with all the cars flying around everywhere. There's lights, there's sirens. You know, they get pretty upset, especially with people in that fringe country end up in fences or in really tricky situations. So, yeah, a lot of those basic animals that we see out there, your possums, your wombats, your kangaroos, yeah, those sort of things.
And as you say, those animals might be popping up in places that they're not usually at, given that they're trying to escape the fires or find food and water. So if people do come across wildlife, what should they do?
Well, there's a couple of scenarios here. So let's say you come across, remember that wildlife's called wildlife for a reason because it's wild. So big kangaroos, even koalas that look cute and cuddly, just be really switched on that when you approach an animal like that, it's obviously distressed, displaced, confused. They might look cute and cuddly like a lot of our Australian wildlife does, but a kangaroo still give you a nasty kick, and believe me, a koala still give you a nasty bite or a scratch. So just approach it with caution, make sure there's a couple of yous. A lot of the times you need to carry blankets and that sort of stuff. So if you're going to try and contain them or, you know, and assess them like that, be really careful because your safety's paramount. So definitely be careful of that. And for a lot of your little animals, you know, just try and contain them. A lot of the things just need those basic things like that food and that water, mainly hydration at these points in time. So, yeah, just be real careful out there when you're assessing that sort of stuff and try and use all the web forums. There's a lot of good pages out there. There's a lot of good shelters putting out good information. Like, really use that resource to your benefit.
Yeah, people can contact shelters and wires. There is help out there as well. What about your operation? You say that over the coming weeks and months, you'll be really busy with these animals. How will you manage that? And have you been dealing with power outages as well?
Yeah, it's just been horrendous. Like in that space, I know, shout out to, I see the Robin Coy, that she lost her whole wildlife shelter. So when you have wildlife like we do, if you are a shelter that's going to be in an impact zone, we can't just pack up our animals and leave. You can't put your kangaroos on a cattle truck or, you know, your wombats, you know, in your car really. So you have to like stay there and fight, or if the worst case, you have to abandon your animals and hope for the best. But yeah, it's the impacts that we'll see are not so much short term. Like in a couple of months when those animals that have perished, they're probably the lucky ones in those areas. The ones that have survived and they come out, they're going to be susceptible to starvation and some really horrendous conditions because there's just no food or shelter, and then it leaves them exposed and they get stressed out. So I think wildlife shelters will normally see the biggest impacts in the next month and onwards. So yeah, if anyone can show the support, get around these people, it really burns you out. It's always crazy in this time of the year when there's bushfires. So yeah.
Josh Neal, we really appreciate you joining us this morning, and well done on all the great work that you do in your community for those beautiful animals. Thank you so much.
No worries. Stay positive, legends. Look after each other. Cheers.